What's going on? Oh, there's Bash, and what did he say? Psychics.
Psychics. The only people with more misplaced confidence than Michael Avenatti. Now, chances are you haven't thought about psychics in a while, which is weird. There's not really a whole lot else going on. But if you watch daytime TV at all...
Right, so he's saying, oh, there's not much going on, so that's why you pay attention to psychics. Wow, bashed. And look, of course, you have the one eye and the lightning bolts that just couldn't wait to smash you, right? This is similar to the zodiac within the wheel and the wheel, and bash, 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 bash. What is this? Counterfeit. Yes, the counterfeit ability to see the truth, which this bash eye now represents your relative truth, because you have one eye bashed out. Who knew?
You'll see that they pop up all the time.
My next guest started communicating with the dead when she was just a toddler.
She's a wife and a mom who also happens to talk to dead people.
Please welcome celebrity pet psychic. Our next guest is a clairvoyant to the stars. We're back with a group of friends.
Look at all these shows. Look at all these shows that you watch day in, day out.
Bond. They are all psychic.
Okay, I guess it's good that at least Dr. Oz isn't wearing scrubs in that clip, but I'd still like him to do more to signal he now lacks credibility as a medical professional. I think...
Oh, so now he's mocking him. He's like, oh, Dr. Oz, I had faith in you, but now since you do this, this guy's calling this guy a bash. Who knew that they're all bashes? Who knew that you are bash? You're just another little bash in the cog of the wheel you call bashhood. But yeah, you can complain and whine all you want and show little clips. But what are you saying? Are you relentlessly seeking refuge in truth? No, my truth. My truth and your truth and their truth, and it's all good.
I think a sandwich sign that says walking joke is the clothing choice that I would be comfortable with. And
yes, who knew that he is a walking joke? But no, it's just a funny thing in the show and blah, blah, blah.
Before we go any further, I'm not going to be litigating whether psychics are real in this piece. For one, they're not. See?
See, he's like, oh, I'm not even going to stand up for them or say anything for them or, represent them in any way. No, he said, no, they're not. They're just bash.
No litigation required.
But it's bad.
Also, for anyone who does believe in psychic powers, I know there is nothing I could say that could convince you otherwise. Logic isn't the reason that you believe in them, and it won't be the reason that you stop. Which is not to say that I won't be showing you clips of psychics fucking up. But that is only because it's really funny.
This is a girl who you said was beaten and killed.
Okay.
This little girl is me. And you told somebody that she's dead.
She's like, oh,
wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
You didn't disappear?
I'm right here.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that is interesting. I guess her psychic abilities didn't include predicting when she'd be utterly humiliated on national television. And look, it is easy to dismiss psychics as a joke. Really easy. Fun, too. But the fact of the matter is...
Because who knew supposed psychics, right, are supposedly just like antennas for the dead, right? The whispers of whispers.
One recent poll found 4 in 10 Americans believe in psychics. Just think about that. Statistically, that means out of all the people who saw John Travolta's Gotti movie, 4 of them believe in psychics. So...
Bash. Meaning that they had to be bashed to even see that movie, right? Is that what you're saying? Well, listen. What is a psychic? And what do 4 out of 10 believe in in the mediums? Being able to channel and this and that. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew it's a whole bash wave of something you call new? A new age of some bash. So, first of all, it's going to be a rehash of metaphysics, okay? Philosophy. And it seeks to answer what is there and what is it like. So who knew that these questions would lead you to just become a psychic, become a worshiper of the light, a medium to Satan? Who knew? No. It's just an attempt, right? Metaphysics seeks to answer in abstract and fully general manner, right? With no precision at all, just nothing. So metaphysics seeks to answer nothing with these questions. What a bash. Okay? Because that's what this bash... What? Exactly. You all worship psychics. because you believe yourself to have the ultimate psyche. Right? You're the smartest Bash, and Toth is my leader and my guide. Hermetics. Oh.
Whether they are real or not is incidental. What matters is a lot of people think they are. And the psychic industry is both larger and grimmer than you might assume. By one estimate, it's a $2.2 billion industry, and there has been a lot of predatory behavior. When the
Right. So who knew that people would gravitate to something that's cash and cow because that's what you're led to worship and do? So who knew that they would just mimic and emulate those who actually do what? The rituals, the actual sacrifices, the worship to Satan and all this. Unless they all do it. Which, of course, they do. In their own little relative way. In their own belief. Wow. Bashed by your own logic. But you say, oh, people that believe in logic, obviously logic didn't lead you to believe in them, and it certainly won't get you out of it. Right? Because reason apparently is king. King of what? Cynicism. Reason is king of cynicism. Nihilism. Just thinking everything's just nothing, and therefore you can just friction, apparently be on a show and say, why do you guys believe in psychics, people? They're stealing from you and this and that and this and that and this. All the while telling you what it is that you worship him. But he won't say, guys, you believe in worship and psychics, but why do you believe in me then? Oh.
The FTC settled charges with the companies behind the Psychic Readers Network in 2002, the one that featured Miss Cleo. They found that over one 3-year period, they had charged people about $1 billion and had collected half of it. They took in...
Because who knew that they just do it in another theatrical way? Who knew that, psychologists and psychiatric people, psychiatrists are doing the same bash. They're giving advice for people, right? To somehow... So they're kind of channeling, right, some psychic power so that the person might be able to see and hear some whispers that might supposedly help them, right? So what is a psychologist and a psychiatrist doing if not attempting to reach some bash ether or some bash to the other person so that they can somehow bash differently? Same thing. You just call it a different name, and they have different, language in the sense of code words in them, terminologies, and this in their bash fields. But it's the same thing. Right? One's supposedly real, and the other one's false. No. Both false. Who knew? Because neither of them actually, quote unquote, help people. No, it just further deceives them into just smashing more. Amazing. But what is
$500 million. I had no
power?
idea psychics could make that much money. It's like finding out the second richest person in the world behind Jeff Bezos is this GameStop employee named Greg. I mean, good for Greg, I guess. But now I've got a lot of questions about GameStop and literally everything else. So tonight...
Yeah, you have questions about everything. And now in this bash little clip of yours, you're gonna just smash it all on psychics. Amazing.
Let's take a look at the psychic industry, particularly one of the most insidious parts of it, mediums. People who claim to be able to communicate with the dead. They are everywhere on TV. Some even have their own reality shows.
She's a professional psychic.
It's me, Mario. Madonna Mia.
Mary knows best.
Hollywood Mania on E! Psychic Tia on A&E. Mama Medium, November 5th at 9 on TLC.
Spirit is important to me, just as important as my hair and my nails.
Long Island Medium, only
Right.
on TLC.
The crazy thing...
Who cares what he's gonna say? But wow, exactly. You watch that day in, day out, and somehow it changes your life. Or at least it's just entertainment, right? No, it's entrainment. Brainwashing. Propaganda, whatever you bash want to call it. All because the founder of the New Age, apparently, was amongst supposedly others, right? Amongst a further major influence on the New Age was the Theosophical Society, an occult group co-founded by the Russian Helena Blavatsky in the late 19th century. Again, leading up to World War I. What's going on? No, nothing. So who's this bash? Helena Blavatsky. Ooh. Well, she was a medium. She channeled and she spirited and she cooked up. She spirit cooked. Who knew? Who knew? But no, 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 right? No, 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 no. Was a Russian occultist, right? Hidden knowledge, the mystery teachings, this and that and this, the whispers of Lucifer. Who knew? And a philosopher, right? And oh, are you gonna say a philanthropist too? An author of co-founder of the Theosophical Society in 1875. She gained international following as the leading theoretician of theosophy. Oh, theosophy, yes. Esoteric, who knew? Born into an aristocratic Russian-German family, of course. Blah, blah, blah. You read it for your bash self. According to her later claims, in 1849, she embarked on a series of world travels, visiting Europe, the Americas, and India. In her pilgrimage, right? She's proselytized. She's going out there spreading the word of the new age. Blah 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 blah. Right? So who knew that she was key? Right? Look at her, if you will, or don't. Don't even give a bash. And what is this? The OTO, the Order Templis Orientis, OTO. Order of the Temple of the East, or Order of Oriental Templars, is an international fraternal and religious organization, right? Founded in the beginning of the 20th century by Carl Carla, the Order, the English author and occultist Aleister Crowley. Is the best known and most influential member of the order. Originally, it was intended to be modeled after and associated with European Freemasonry. Who knew? Oh, and all these bashes with their they love their little symbols and their meaning. They're all sigils encoded with spirit cooking. Okay, who knew? And yet you say no, no, no. These are just people that help the community. Yeah, sure. All worshiping Lucifer and somehow being so good. What a shame. What a shame. Because to you, Lucifer is the actual, bringer of freedom and bash, bash, bash. Look, again, teachings of sex magic, hermetic triad, da da da, the love triad. Whoa, who knew you love all these things? The physical Pisces with the blah, 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 smashed. And of course, this guy's just bashing the shows they make about the worship of the New Age. He's just bashing shows. He's not telling you anything of what it is that is actually being done to you, has been done to you, and now you're doing to yourself and others without even knowing it.
The thing about these shows is how they choose to focus on the psychic's personal lives. Who gives a shit about that? If I actually believed they could communicate with the dead, that is the only thing I'd want to see them doing. The Long Island medium can ask Abraham Lincoln, Gandhi, and Shakespeare anything she wants. So tune in next week as she thinks about getting bangs. And look.
Right. So mockery, mockery, mockery. But who knew that he's smashing you, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, no wonders. Yeah, why? Why aren't they talking to the dead relentlessly? Who knew that worshippers of the light perhaps do? In their own rituals, they gather and they do, and they have a shared experience of Lucifer. Who knew? But then they had to make bash shows for you to just think that that's what it is. And so the guys like this can then come and smash them. Wow. So all along you think this is not real, and all the while it's what's being used against you. Wow. Who knew the Vril Society, right? What is the Vril? Vril. People love Vril. Oh, it's the ether and this and this. And it's what connects you to the overall network of all the spirits of the multiplexes of verses. What a shame. Because what? It's a book, right? Apparently, Vril. The Coming Race is a novel by Edward Bulwer Lytton, published anonymously in 1871. Again, 1871. Why is all this coming up leading up to World War One? Apparently, could it be because it was the whispers, the pockets of deceit that were now traveling the world, spreading some bash, the coming race, deceiving people, bringing them to what? War? No, 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 no. It couldn't be. Some readers have believed the account of a superior subordinate master race. Who knew? at least in at least in part, some theosophists, notably Helena Blavatsky, accepted the book as based on occult truth, in part. So they accepted it, but in part, smashed. They accepted it fully. Who knew that it was their manifesto? And of course, linked to the Third Reich and what they were doing. The mediums of the Reich. The mediums of the Reich. Pumping them with what is going on, right? Supposedly. Or was it showing them how the plans to now move into the next phase? Well, who knew? Create a war to believe that it's about the flesh dying, and then all while it's a ritual, spilling the blood, and who gives a bash? Now you're rewarded, and you're given the keys to the new reset. After all, the bash men are dead, and this and that, and now that ideal, that philosophy, no, that religion, exactly, the religion of do's thou wilt with the master race of purity that's gonna take you, blast you through the sun. Apparently, right? Back to Aldebaran, where apparently the Reich thought they were from, and bash, bash, bash. What is that? What is even going on, right? Nothing. The existence of a Vril society was alleged in 1960 by Jacques Bargia and Louis Powell in their book, The Morning of the Magicians. Oh, couldn't be just more in your face. They claimed that the Vril Society was a secret community of occultists in pre-Nazi Berlin that was a sort of inner circle of the Thule Society. Right? Yes. They also thought that it was in close contact with the English group known as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Oh, they couldn't wait. The Vril information takes up about a tenth of volume, in the remainder of which details other esoteric speculations, but the authors failed to clearly explain whether this section is fact or fiction. Do they, or is it just, is that what this just says, so that it could be this or that, this and that. Exactly. Confusion. Who knew that it was misdirection? That's what magicians do, misdirection. And then all of a sudden the effect, and you're like, whoa, how did you do that? Smashed. With hermetics, of course. With the wisdom of Thoth. And the promises of Lucifer. The book of Jacques, blah, 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 blah. In this book, blah, 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 bash. Esoteric neo-Nazism, right? Of course. You love it. And who knew that that's why it's a mockery when you're out there yelling, oh, everyone's a Nazi, and this and that, and this and this, and you bigot, and this and that. You're just throwing a tantrum for the abuse that you were fed. And who knew that it was exactly in alignment with what the bash this or worships, what this worships, and what the Reich worshipped and worships still, because it's still everywhere. Okay? It's hilarious. But no, you think it's somehow just about this and just vaguely answering this. And then all to give me an excuse to bash what I call psychics. Wow, what a shame.
I will admit, mediums make for compelling TV. Most people have seen at least one of them bring someone to tears with messages from dead loved ones like this.
Did you lose your husband, ma'am? Your husband wants to thank you for caring for him and allowing him to leave the physical world with dignity and grace.
Now that woman is clearly...
Okay, who knew that you can cause emotion to people that have lost, someone, apparently? Because they say dead and it's, the memories are gone and I don't have them with me here. Exactly, because you worship death! You relentlessly look to the dead and dying and just death for answers. And you ignore the living relentlessly. You ignore the living relentlessly. You are a worshiper of death and worshiper of the light. You think that it's just the light that you should look at and just blast into the light. All the while you look to the dead for some sort of purpose and meaning and guidance. All the while you just deny the living. And you say, no, there's no living God. There's no creator, and I'm all alone. What a shame. I mean, what a traumatized little tantrum of a little bash kid you are. Wow. Exactly. You're just always putting your bash in some glory hole while it just chops and just munches down, sucking the living life out of you. Who knew? But you love it. It feels so good. How can I not?
Genuinely touched. Although I will say, it is weird that the conduit to the afterlife is for some reason Teresa Caputo, living proof of what would happen if you added too much baking soda to Edie Falco. And while watching people tear up can seem incredible, the techniques that psychics use to achieve those moments are significantly less incredible, because there are two basic techniques that psychics tend to use. The first is called cold reading. It's basically taking high probability guesses, like I'm sensing a loved one who had problems in the chest area, or is there a J or an M in a loved one's name? Here are some cold reading in action.
All right. And is there a D, like a Daniel, David? Like there's a big D. So for me, it's initials. It's usually on months of the year, like December being important.
And where's the M connection to you?
Does someone have a scar on the foot?
I do.
Thank you. Because your daddy...
The decision's connected to her departure.
Did anybody have either a brain tumor, brain aneurysm, or a cerebral...
Right, and who knew that there's people implanted in there just feeding him information? Who knew he had a headset or this or that, or just getting fed by who? Anyone but himself.
Cerebral hemorrhage? Not connected to him, not connected to you. Somebody behind you had that.
Oh, someone behind her had that.
Yeah,
a room, incidentally, that is very likely to have someone who had one of the problems he just...
Yeah, so
now he's just
mocking and using probability as his bash. That's what he worships, numbers. I worship the Harry Potter little numbers. I put a little two parallel lines, and now it equals something like that. This other number. Amazing.
You know, all those little green hands are going up. The secret of cold reading is the broader the generality, the higher the chance it resonates with someone. It is the same reason that fortune cookies predict romantic developments ahead, and not, your wife is going to seem icy withholding around the 12th of the month. And that's because when she asked you to handle the thing with the grout in the shower, she didn't mean be the plumber's...
No, exactly. You can't be certain. So, psychics are just about the broad, general... Who knew? Who knew that they just... What is it there? So, who's speaking to me? What is it like? What are they saying? So, it's just a fully general, abstract manner, right? It's just bash. So it's what you worship, buddy. Metaphysics. It's a science, right? Space and time, identity and change, and all this bash. Branch of philosophy. They couldn't wait. And this bash worships philosophy and natural philosophy.
Contacts but keep her abreast of every step of the grouting process. She meant she wanted it off her plate. And she just feels like texting in the middle of the workday asking if she thinks the landlord is going to ask for the plumber's insurance. That's not off her plate. That's just you, Aaron, filling up the plate. And sometimes psychics make laughably sure bets. For instance, here's John Edward in Huntington, Long Island, a town where nearly 1 in 5 residents are of Irish ancestry.
Is there a Brian Flanagan or a O'Flynn?
Shut up.
Brian
You're supposed to be speaking directly to people's dead relatives, not trying to guess the name of the Lucky Charms mascot. And for the record, that leprechaun's name, Ibrahim Abdul Hamid bin Salim.
Right, mockery. But what does this little bash green guy represent? False promise.
surprises you, maybe update your antiquated Irish stereotypes. Narrower guesses until you're amazed at what they've just done. Of course, it's not an exact science. It's not a science at all. And sometimes things do go wrong. In fact,
Oh, he's like, it's not a science at all, while just relentlessly flashing the A-OK symbol. Amazing. Because it's okay. It's not a science, but it's A-OK. Smashed.
pick up John Edwards' reading with the family of Brian something as he doubles down on a bad guess.
I'm kind of getting the feeling of not liking the old.
Fine, so he's bashing them. Who knew that?
I just want to be really clear because I
who
can't
knew
tell-
that within these bash mediums that are just trying to mimic what they want to, bring in. They're trying to be good little worshippers of the light, bringing in money, right, to apparently survive and just bring into the brotherhood in this, in the order of whatever bash it is that you're bashing in, and it's okay because it's an NGO, and it's okay. Bash. Hermetics, right? Associating it closely with the esoteric doctrines of Hermeticism and Neoplatonism. Neoplatonism. Oh, this passion stone. Amazing. So who knew that you worship the dead? Because who knew that the word of God is alive? It is timeless. And you just say, oh, well, who wrote the Bible? Some dirty old man that you can't trust because who's even a holy man? No, there's no such thing. Blah, 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 blah. Yet you look to bashes like Plato and all these bashes, people that are dead, who just spent their whole life just thinking about all this bash, right? Apparently. Just the web of the abyss. No certainty. Just riding their bash journey. How they tumbleweeded around. And their struggle and eventually ended up killing themselves. Most of them. Who knew? Could it be possible because they were being deceived by Satan? No. So why is it that the Word of God is alive and is timeless and reverberates whether you read the Bible or not, or whether you even seek refuge in the true worship of the Creator? No, you don't, because things like this are just, you can make cool shirts with it and tie-dye this and make cool little symbols and fractals and amazing. Smashed. So this bash is
Tell you what you
not
want me,
saying
you're going to say what you show me.
anything.
And if he's calling your mother a bitch, I'm going to pass it on.
Oh my God! And look, so time, no.
So what's your
Just came through
take-home
and she just called
message?
grandma the C word, so don't be mad. Are willing to co-sign on psychic's abilities. A few years ago, Tyler Henry, the Hollywood medium and anime drawing of Jared Kushner, went on the Today Show to do a reading of one of their anchors. And I'm afraid that it's the exact Today Show anchor that you are hoping/dreading it is.
There's a reference to fishing, but he's talking about being spoken out loud to. I know what this is actually.
Oh, so everybody
I don't know if
knows
you're aware
him.
of this, but he is acknowledging that an individual will be out on a boat. And I feel like
So he's
sitting alone and
he's
fishing,
telling him a
and
nice
thinking back.
story of information
And
that Bash probably knows.
He's having me acknowledge this feeling of like, I'm there with you, I'm there with you.
My dad shared two passions with me. He shared golf and fishing.
Nice.
And
So he
communicate
was
with him where
touched.
It's clear that Matt Lauer is touched there, and this time he didn't even have to pressure a subordinate into doing it. And look, maybe that would be cold reading, but he may have been using the other technique here of hot reading, which involves doing prior research on a subject. So for
Exactly, hot reading, but who knew that there is the actual whisper of Satan, Lucifer, which was what this person was doing, and then going around, in her pilgrimage, just saying, she was preaching the new word of the whispers of Lucifer. Right? Because who knew it was the new race, the new age, the new dawn, the golden dawn, and this and that and that and this and that and this and that. All because of their sacred worship of the light. Amazing.
He could have read articles where Lauer talks about his father's passion for fishing, or seen interviews that Lauer gave like this.
Who cares?
about sitting in a boat with my dad.
Look,
Right?
maybe beforehand, the even lazier skill, whichever technique type fell for it.
I tell you, I got home, I cried. I did plenty
So
of
he
crying when I got
cried.
amazing.
So who knew that you were relentlessly touched in life, right? By things that are supposedly just, they know who you are. How? That's why you worship it. And things like the Book of Faces and all this stuff, that data mining, who knew it was just to do exactly what the mediums are doing. Cold and hot reading you. Amazing.
Let you know, season 2 of Hollywood Medium with Tyler Hand. It almost seems weird to be doing it.
Oh, he's like, it's almost weird to be promoting, but wow, it's his new show coming up. Wow, exactly. It's
There's
all
a promo right
it's
now
all a
because it was so much more
ritual.
important to me than a promo. It premieres Wednesday, August 10th on our sister network, E.
Wow, everything about that is a little strange, not least.
Yeah.
Look, you can see.
So
what
is it
people
strange? No, it goes along with your brotherhood. Okay? So this guy's
are
bad.
vulnerable may tell themselves that they offer a harmless
this
way to
guy
deal
even
with painful
saying?
loss. In fact, just watch as Teresa Caputo pretty much
Oh,
spells that
so
out in response to a fairly
he's
obvious
bashing
question.
them more.
So
Oh,
when a
he
tragedy
brings
happens, let's
Dr.
say a
Phil in
murder,
there.
if
Look.
somebody comes to a loved one.
One thing I know for sure is that Montel Williams' show is definitely deceased. But daytime shows are still holding hands with this shit.
Oh, it was
Just last
Dr.
month,
Phil.
Dr. Phil had a psychic
Oh, yeah,
detective
yeah.
on to help solve a cold case. And why would he do that? The
Right.
only logical
To solve a cold case, they bring in the medium to talk to the dead somehow and then give us some information. And they've helped us relentlessly, right? Because sometimes they're right, but sometimes they're not. But it's better to have some of those times be right than not have anything at all, right? Wow, what a shame. Who knew that all the occult brotherhoods and all this worship what psychics represent? Not actual psychics themselves and their past shows or actual individuals that help law enforcement. No. What they represent. Yes, the New Order. Because it does have a religion. It's not just people just smashing out there and threatening you with violence to kill you. No, it's driven by a worship of something. What is it? You don't know, but you still worship it and call it Gnosticism and this and that and this. Bash. What is it? Well, why don't you actually read the doctrine instead of just being some bash victim of a 33rd degree power that you just somehow were born into? No, couldn't be, right? No. We'll end it there. Because this bash is just obviously just bashing. What's his take-home message? Nothing.
reading yesterday, and it was so much more important to
they're
me
having
than
a
a promo.
mock.
I cried all the way home.
So who knew they have an SNL pirate, and now they have a bash this pirate, and now they're just mocking and making a bash.
You would pay money for.
Oh, wait, I'm getting a voice through for someone at home. Hold on. Your grandmother's a bitch.
That you would pay. Or mediumimpressive.com and get a free psychic reading. We promise it will be exactly as accurate as any psychic reading that you would pay money for.
Oh, wait, I'm getting...
Right. So they're saying, just give us the money and we'll just pretend. Who knew that it was just all pretend to him? Exactly. He's pretending to care. He's presenting to, by giving you clips like this, that he actually cares about you because he's giving you some sort of consumer beware thing and this and that. No, he's mocking you because clearly the worship of what psychics represent is it's their religion. It's the religion of the worship of the dead. All the while you're bashing the living life out of you and ignoring the living. The only thing that ever was and will be. The true promise. Life everlasting with the Creator. Who knew? But no, you say, life just somehow was given to the bash matter. Somehow. Who knows? What is going on? You're the ultimate rebel, thinking yourself alive while you're worshiping the dead. Who knew? And that's why you cry when people supposedly die, because you worship it. You wish you could be there with them. You worship all the dead and all its powers, apparently, and this and that, and the whispers of the past and this and that. No, you're just blasted in fantasy and just thinking you're living through some past future. What a shame. Return to the Father. Return to the way. Return. Seek refuge in truth. recognize the true promise and not the false promise of Satan and all his confusion and desolation. For truly, Lucifer steals, kills, and destroys. But no, you're just like this, Bash. You refuse to see. Fine. Suffer and die, because that's truly what you worship.